The metallic attributes of our materials are important for us establishing how the light is going to be absorbed and conserved across the surface of our object. Something we absolutely need to take a look at when working and trying to recreate the illusion that our objects are metal. So let's look at the metallic properties of our shaders, and specifically, excuse me, I apologize, and zoom in. We're going to be working with this one right here. Again, working with my retro rocket, and we're going to try to make this look much more metallic. The roughness is not alone. Is not enough, excuse me. We have to add a little bit of this metallic value in here to start establishing the conservation of energy. If you think about metallic objects, the light is going to reflect off them very quickly, but it's also going to hang around on the surface and be absorbed back into the metal just for like a nanosecond, right? We want to start to simulate that by increasing our metallic values. As I do so, look at how the surface changes its appearance. Here's with it at a value of 0, so kind of like off. And if we push it all the way almost to 100%, just that small little change in the metallic attributes is getting us in the ballpark of something that looks more metallic. The light is being conserved across the surface of our geometry, and we're creating a cool look. If we pair this with an image, we can create some really compelling, very compelling surface characteristics. And I want to show you another input shader that I enjoy working with. It's called the Voronoi. I want to add it in. Let's go into the texture section of our shader graphs, and we're going to add in the Voronoi. And check out this. This is actually kind of neat. Like we did with the other ones, I'm just going to take the color value and plug it into the base color. And this is what we get. Isn't that kind of cool? It's kind of this really weird, wacky geometric pattern. If I was to increase the scale some, you can see that it looks like these really cool little chips almost, these little slate tiles, maybe something that we can use for flooring, perhaps. We can also continue to even it out. We can randomize it a little bit. I mean, there's even some different variations of the algorithm in here that will give us some fun results. It's just kind of really neat to play around with this. Like I mentioned, you have to be you have to put your mad scientist hat on to a certain degree when exploring this. But if we have a target, if we know what we're trying to work towards, maybe some of these procedural textures can be super useful. I think I want to see if I can try to create a galvanized look. And galvanized zinc and galvanized metal is kind of special because based off of these big chunks, some areas are reflective and some areas have really deep metallic properties and other areas don't. Let me show you how this can work. So what we're striving to do here is that we're going to take the color value and we're going to plug it into this metallic property. So let's just do it real fast. Let's plug it in, boink. And when the shader compiles, hey, it looks pretty good. Now we're getting some areas that have this real deep metallic property connected to them. And as I run over, the specular highlight here is much more intense in the areas that were darker in the texture than they were before. I think that's pretty neat. We're starting to get that metallic attribute that we're looking for, that galvanized look. However, I want you to be real careful and real mindful of the colors of all of these little nodes and all the values that we're sending from one node to another. The metallic value really does want to work off of a value scale of 0 to 1, but we're feeding it color information, RGB 3-channel color information. Previously, we used the color ramp node to get it from color information, RGB color information, into 0 to 1 scale, a black and white color value scale. Well, I want to do something very similar to that. If you look carefully here, the color of the input and the output nodes really do a great job of defining the expected value that's supposed to go in here. Where it's yellow, this is RGB color information. Where it's gray, this is 0 to 1 value information. And purple is going to be vector information. So let's add a node in here. There's one more that I want to show you. It's under the converter section. And it is, if I can read the list, it is, oh my goodness, RGB to black and white. Here we go. And RGB to black and white. I'm going to put it on the wire between the Voronoi texture and the shader. And it's automatically going to pump it in. And now we're having the correct data flow from object to object. See how we have yellow to yellow, then gray to gray. This is kind of doing the exact same thing as it was before, but we lose a little bit of control in determining the start and stop points of the black and white values that are being sent into the shader itself. But this is a good one just to get color information into a 0 to 1 scale if we wanted to use it for, any of the other channels inside of our attribute. Previously, we were using the color ramp, but I want you to see the difference here. Let me just delete that. Shift A, I'm going to search for color ramp. I think you'll find that I like to do searching just a little bit faster. Okay, so now let's start loading all of this in. And we're going to get a discongruent. Visually, it kind of looks the same, but we're kind of doing an undesirable job, as they say, by changing the values, by sending the wrong type of value into the channels. But what we gain is the ability to begin to customize where the black and white pixels begin and end inside of. Yeah, look at that. Now we've created a very different look. We have certain areas that have that, kind of chippy metallic feel and other areas that don't. I think that's pretty fun. Yeah, that's pretty engaging. I'm starting to really enjoy this. So the metallic values do a great job in helping us kind of produce this conservation of energy as the light rays are absorbed by the surface before they're reflected out inside the scene. A must-have when working with metallic objects.